Good morning, I'm meteorologist Alexandra Cranford. We're getting you your weather update on the tropics here at 10 a.m. on Wednesday, June 29th. We're just going into what to expect over the next week or so. We've been saying for a couple of days now, we're seeing some spots stirring in the tropics, but we're not actually seeing anything really get going near us. Now, there is that spot we've been talking about in the Gulf of Mexico that has a medium chance of developing, but it doesn't have that much time over the waters, and it's closer to the Texas coast. So if you're along the Texas coast, even if you're along other parts of the Gulf Coast, you're going to get some rain from this system, but we're just not seeing it really tightening up at this point. Still a brief window for that to happen through the next day or so before this moves inland around southeast Texas, but that's really the closest spot to anywhere in the U.S. at this point. There's also a potential tropical cyclone, still not a developed system, skirting the coast of Venezuela right now. And then there's another spot farther out. So we'll just go into these pretty quickly because none of these is really, as I said, a big threat or a really huge deal for especially the New Orleans area. Now, if you're, again, along the Texas coast, you're going to get some rain from this system that's out in the extreme western Gulf of Mexico. About a 40% chance of development is what the National Hurricane Center is giving it. And this one we've been watching for a while now. I just wanted to show you quickly a little model run, for example, what might happen with this as this system moves inland over Texas. Now, note that the general rainy pattern is there along the Gulf Coast, but we just are not seeing it, again, tightening up so far or trying to really get developed and organized with that low pressure center getting very well defined, lots of thunderstorms all around the center. If we see that happen, it might become a very short-lived depression, but at this point, it's mostly a rainmaker. So note a big bullseye of some rain along the Texas coast. Also, maybe about 1 to 3, possibly plus inches of rain along parts of the Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama coasts. So that'll just be something to think about with the scattered rain in the forecast the next couple of days. And then the long holiday weekend, it looks like there will be some scattered rain all along the Gulf Coast, just with the continuation of this kind of pattern. Now, we're also seeing potential tropical cyclone 2, so switching over to the coast of South America around Venezuela. That's where that system is right now. But we've been saying, even though it's charging into the Caribbean Sea, it's just so close to land, it really has not been able to organize either. So this one might organize as it moves out over those warm southern Caribbean waters in the next couple of days. Maybe by Thursday, it could possibly try to organize once it clears land a little bit away from Venezuela and eventually away from the coast of even Colombia. But it does look like this one's moving across the that other spot way out in the Atlantic, and this one has a 30% chance, still a low chance of development. And the thing with this one is we're going to track it here with our atmospheric rotation model, and I'll just try to point out where that atmospheric spin is with this. Note that by July 3rd, so we're talking about late this weekend, it will probably still just barely be in kind of the northern Caribbean or somewhere around Hispaniola perhaps. And then watch what happens. Our models have kind of been showing the spin maybe reaching toward the Bahamas, Cuba, southern Florida, but they do not keep it extremely tight. It looks like atmospheric conditions are not going to be too conducive for formation as it moves into kind of the time frame into next week. So we'll see. We'll track it, but right now we're not looking at a big threat from this. Of course, it's far out with these systems. There's no center. It hasn't formed yet. Things could change this far out. We always say that, but just kind of tracking what we see right now, it looks like it might be kind of battling some elements once it gets a little farther to the north. So looking quickly at hurricane season so far this year, of course, we've still had just the one named storm, Alex. Last year at this time, though, we had had 4 named storms. We had made it through Claudette. If you remember, Claudette made a landfall along the Gulf Coast, just to the east of the New Orleans area last year, in the kind of latter portion of June. And then we had also had Danny at this point. So we were already through 4 storms, but this year just Alex. We'll see if Bonnie develops eventually, but right now it is still just the potential tropical cyclone. still looking very active. So this isn't really to say that we couldn't see, of course, an active season at all. We're only 1 month in, but looking at those season names, we've made it through Alex. The next names on the list are Bonnie, Colin, Danielle, and then eventually Earl, Fiona, and Gaston. If we did make it to around 19 or 20 named storms, that would take us to Tobias or Virginie. So that'll do it for your update today. Again, just kind of watching everything, expecting some rain along the Texas coast and other parts of the Gulf Coast, but that's really the main story for today, at least. We'll keep you updated, of course, if anything changes and if we do see any development out there, whether it's the system in the Gulf or whether it's the area along Venezuela and in the Caribbean Sea. So that'll do it for today. Thanks for joining me, guys. We'll have more updates coming, and you can find us more information through the day on WWLTV.com.